her daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Pacer Nation, rise up.
That's right.
There it is.
Pacer Nation, rise up.
On the bandwagon, I'm with him.
Yeah, Pacer Nation in the front train, me and Dan in the back train.
That's right.
Just riding the coattails.
Now, Troy, are you taking off your LeBron jersey for a couple weeks? And are you totally on the bandwagon, or do you have Halliburton on the front of your jersey, LeBron on the back, or vice versa? Where are you at?
I will probably never own a Halliburton jersey. But I do. Listen, once your guy's the greatest of all time,
Wow,
you can share in other people's happiness.
Wow, to tell like Chicago in that.
Dan is that what you've done with Jordan, Dan?
Wow. Well, that's a tough one.
I think I'm not going to jump into this. I'm tired, but every time someone sends me anything, I have a database. Basically, in my mind, this is a
database
of filters and mechanisms. And really, anytime someone says Jordan's better now, it's a choose your own adventure with me. Because you say, what I'll do, I try to stay calm. I just say, listen.
You try.
Listen, are we talking about who has the most championships? Is that the route we're going, or is it aura, or is it something else? And go down that route. And people will send things like, did you see that video of LeBron getting beaten by some high school kid one-on-one at his camp? Wow. Isn't that embarrassing?
Wow.
And I say, well, have you seen the video of Jordan getting beat one-on-one by a CEO of the CEO camp that paid him like $100,000 each for him to just come? Because we have that video too. We have everything. I've got it all, guys.
Can I just say what if you want to understand inside of Jordan a little bit, and I was even surprised as a Chicagoan when you watch his Hall of Fame speech, it was like,
he's not a good person. He's not a good person.
No, and he just literally, if you ever said anything wrong to him or any news reporter, that was like his whole career. I'm going to prove you. I mean, it's like, really? Is this what it comes down to?
Listen, I agree. But listen, Pacer Nation, we're on it. 2-1. It's huge. I think Halliburton is a superstar. These stupid ESPN shows, they're like, is Halliburton a superstar now? Like, yes. It's not a question. Yes, he's a superstar.
It's not a question.
Anyway, but I'll tell you what else on a sadder note. We lost a superstar yesterday, fellas.
Oh.
And I'm just gonna say it here real quick.
I knew it was coming.
R.I.P. to Brian Wilson.
Oh, Brian Wilson, yes.
Of the Beach Boys.
Absolute legend.
Absolute legend. If you're a music person at all, you have to recognize the talent. You see me wear this sweatshirt a lot. I'm going to just show you. You never get to see the bottom. This is a Beach Boys sweatshirt.
Wow.
Shout out to Brian Wilson. Some of the best.
That was my first concert. I went with my older brother, took me to Chicago Stadium to see the Beach Boys.
Oh, man.
They were good.
There's been a lot of variations of the Beach Boys through the years. Someone asked me that just last week, I think. So, would you go see the Beach Boys now? It's like, but it's not the Beach Boys. It's just the name. Of the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of those bands are. They keep.
Vince Gill has been playing with the Eagles for years. Wait,
that's right.
The Eagles.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, anyway. Guys, listen, options with the boys wrapped up another episode last night. We're getting ready to go into production.
Yeah, Troy, tell the people what is options with the boys.
So if you're a guy, you understand what the boys are. It's your boys.
Boys.
into boys. Yeah. And I have some boys who wanted to learn options. And I thought, well, this would be a fun opportunity to teach them options. But I've traded my whole life just for basically being an influencer at this point. So I'm always just looking for content.
An influencer.
Every relationship I have, I just try to see if I can record it for YouTube. And so I did a class called Options with the Boys. And we're going through, and the boys are learning options. And these boys didn't know anything about options. So it's slow going. But I think if you don't know anything about options, you're going to be able to relate to the boys a lot in this situation. So the first episode's going to come out next Wednesday, and it'll be a world premiere. It's in post-production right now, so we're very excited about that.
And I can tell you from knowing, I think
you knows a lot of the boys.
I know the boys pretty good, and once they get a little comfortable, the boys have some interesting characters, and you'll see as they get comfortable, there's some. The boys are interesting characters.
That's right.
Say that. Yeah.
That's right. So, anywho, but I have bad news. One of the things I said yesterday on the show was we're going to come up with some cool downside butterflies, and I'm going to show you them today. But this is a safe space, and this is somewhere I can be vulnerable with you guys. After options with the boys, I said, well, let me go pull up some of my killer put butterfly trades that I have. And I went through a lot of my trades, basically all my trades that I had on there, put butterflies, and they all suck. They're all terrible. 2025 killed a ton of them because of the moves we hadn't had in a while. And so I thought it'd be interesting to do a little live challenge.
Yeah, let's do it. This sounds super interesting.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to do a live challenge. I'm going to show you a trade that has worked really well this year. This one actually works well this year, but is terrible going back to SPX dailies. But I'm going to tell you the idea, and then I'm going to see if you guys have any thoughts about how you could make it better off the air. And because I like this idea, and I think this idea could be something that you could do in a small account. Theoretically, it's not there yet at all. You could do it in a small account, and it's a little mean reversion trade. So let me do this real quick. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
All right, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
This is a reversion. Okay. This is a reversion fly, and this is a little confusing, but let's just look at it here. So this is SPX, and you'll notice I'm opening it first thing in the morning, and there's two criteria basically for opening it up. A min gap up of 0.3%, a min gap up max of 0.6%. Same thing on the downside. Either you open it up when there's a min gap down 0.3%, or a gap up of 0.6%. And you look at your deltas, and the deltas are like, that's weird. What is happening? You have to go into the backtest to see it. These are at the money of the previous day's close.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So what are we doing? What are we doing there? We're doing a little reversion. We think whatever it's gapped to today, at some point, it's going to go back to yesterday's close. Profit target's 5%. You exit when it moves 2% either direction. Now, this is kind of cheating, and this is probably, I can give you a hint, this is probably going to be set up well if you break this apart into sides rather than trying to do all of it at once. And this is why. If you go through it, like underlying price move up, why did we make money on that but lose money here? Okay, well, up here, 49.73 is when we put it on.
Yeah, look at the date.
But the open or the close from yesterday was 49.85. So we gapped down and we moved back into the shorts. So we moved back into that butterfly for a profit, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, March 19th, 56.31 we put it on. The shorts, it looks like we've gapped up that day. because yesterday's close was 56.15, and we moved up, so it acted as a stop. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah. So are you putting the butterfly? So it's based on yesterday's close. So number one, you're looking for a gap up, but
Or gap down. You're putting it
gap.
yesterday's close.
Oh yeah. So gap up or down, but then it's tied to yesterday's close.
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday's close are where the short strikes are.
Okay.
And you're just playing a little reversion. You look at this, you're like, wow, that's amazing. It's only happened 20 points, that gap of that size and that max. But it's done pretty well. Here's the problem. I'm going to just run this while I talk. This is not a great trade going back to 2022. But I maintain, sometimes you give up the idea, and sometimes you say, the idea just needs some work. And I think the idea just needs some work. I actually think that's a good idea to have a bet that we're going to revert most of the time to yesterday's close.
Yeah.
Like we're at least going to touch yesterday's close. It's going to come in, it's going to interact with that close at some point in the day. So this trade gets a lot worse, when you're running it back to dailies, because I mean, that's nothing to write home about. 200 trades.
Well, I mean, again, I think you gave the spoiler warning. This is like all the back tests, but especially this one. We're not putting this out here for people to go like start automating it right away. This is really an idea. I mean, look at what you're doing. You've got a 5% target on it and 5 cent slippage. This is to get people started. Like you literally just said that. So I think what's interesting about the idea, and maybe in a small account challenge, you've got fairly narrow, a very narrow profit target, but the movement is close to a 0.2% is not much, but the spread is very wide. So what would be interesting is I don't know if Dan's seen this one before. I haven't seen this one before. So my hot take, what I would be interested is maybe narrow that spread a little bit and maybe expand the profit target and see how that would, what that would do. And maybe if there's an opportunity to get bigger profits on it as well. I would say that's about the same. I mean, your ending capital is within a couple points of what your starting one is. What would be interesting to me, Troy, what happens if you juice the profit target a little bit? Now, I don't know if the rails are gonna probably get you out before 25% hits. But this is a fun one for, again, about the same. So they're all pretty close.
The win percentage down. So.
Yeah. But to the point, this idea I really think has merit.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, kind of a contrarian or whatever you want to call it, reversion to mean. Troy, can I ask you, is there any way to see in the three, where was like, just so we can focus on what maybe looking under the hood of the car, where was like maybe the roughest patch? Or do you have some, as far as some of the rougher?
Let me go back to this one. Let me look at the summary.
Wow. Okay.
20. What is that, Matt? I can't read really well. I don't know how to read. Side note: I don't know how to read.
what do you
I mean, either one of these drawdowns.
Trying to look
that drawdown is. Hang on, I gotta increase the size on my screen. That drawdown, the end of 23, would have taken. I mean, here's the thing: it looks like a huge drawdown. Two things what we're looking at. Number one, this is contract capped, so that's going to hide returns. It's also going to hide drawdowns. The range on that chart was not super big, so that was maybe a $10,000 range on the whole. It was a couple $1,000 drawdown.
Yeah, October of 23, you had a couple of losers in a row.
Yeah,
so we can look at that real quick. I mean, this one's super interesting. October 23. So you're getting in at 4204.
Yeah.
The yesterday's opening or sorry, yesterday's closing. I keep saying that, it was 42.25, and you just kind of move down, and so you get out really fast. You get out in 10 minutes. I think a couple things thinking about it. I think you might want to. I don't know, that move up is how you get protected. I mean, you're getting stopped out really quick.
Yes.
Exited, not stopped out, but yes.
Yes, it's acting as a stop for both. It's
Right.
acting as a profit
Yeah.
target and a stop.
It's really a risk management exit rail is technically what it is. And the reason you might see us bandy about the terms a little bit is because a stop order does mean a specific thing.
Of course.
And
yeah.
so people in OO will say, I got stopped, and it'll be like, no, that wasn't a stop. That was an exit based on a risk management rail. And we just are trying to clean up the terminology a little bit internally. And I do the same thing. I still say it sometimes, but
I just don't like MEICers, multiple entry iron conduit, getting to define all the terms all the time.
there it
That's a
is.
separate thing. I mean, really,
Troy's
that's
taking it back.
No,
taking
listen,
it back for the people.
I love it. I agree completely. But like, if you oh gosh, we're getting some stuff in the chat. We're getting some spam in the chat. That Matt guy is a stud. Go Pacers.
Oh man.
Well, that's
Man, Matt's started a movement. Side note, have you noticed? I mean, this is interesting to me. The Pacers are 100% in the finals on days when Matt is not in the OO show that morning.
Was I not in for the first one?
It was a weekend.
Oh, guys,
saying.
I've got plans Friday.
That's what I'm just saying.
right.
I'm just saying. Anyway, so
Let's run a correlation causation matrix on this.
that's right.
Is a sample size of 2 acceptable?
Well, I'm not going to do it live a bunch, but
Troy, I love this. Can you? I think the chat is what they really want. Is they want a link to one of these.
I'm going to do it. But here's the thing. I mean, I'm telling you guys.
Oh, I can.
I love the chat. Don't trade this.
Oh, well, I can post it with a disclaimer.
Yeah, post it with a disclaimer.
Yeah.
I just don't trade this.
Yeah, well, that's fine. If listen, then maybe we just, if people are too intent on not thinking it through on their own, you got to copy this one from the screen, guys. If you want to do backtest,
Copy
here it
it
is.
from the screen.
Pause the video, take a screenshot.
Chat, you might think that we're being like crazy. Chat, listen to me.
We're trying to teach the people.
Chat.
I like that.
We could talk about this stuff all day long, and we can say, don't trade it. And I will get a message during the day, usually like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, hey, what happened here? Why is this so bad? Why did you even show this trade?
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys. So this is idea.
Yeah, it's a good, the concept is good. Concept is good. It needs a little playing with it, right?
Yeah. So there's a question in the chat about how we got the previous close.
Yes, let's do that. So when you're going to here, above here.
Yeah, that would.
Let me empty this out. This is usually going to be just delta. I think it defaults to delta, Matt. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you add deltas, you're going to see that delta pop up. And you can do this per, do it here. But if you go basically strike offset, you're going to see this follow-up tag. And you could say, I want the current price strike offset. I want the current day's open strike offset. I want the previous day's close strike offset. I want the previous week's close strike offset. I want the current week open. Side note, there is, as the hedge fund manager say, there's some alpha there that I don't see a lot of people doing. And we don't show a lot of this, but there's some interesting things you can do with a lot of these trades based on current week, current stuff, and things like that. So, but that's how you do it, is you do previous day's close, and now it's offset. Does that make sense?
Yep. Good. That was a great explanation. Yeah, there's a couple different I agree with Troy that the strike offset is an opportunity that a lot of people have not played around with. And Troy, can you click on the previous day's close and show the different variations? Because I'm going to put myself in this bucket. I typically just use the current price, but can you click on that drop down and show the people what the options are? Because there's more than one option. Click on that field previous day's close and show what the other choices are. Are you doing it? It's not picking up on your screen. Anyway, there's several choices under strike offset. It doesn't always have to be a strike offset from the current strike. So yes, to answer that question. But
I literally have been talking on mute and I just showed that. That's crazy. It didn't show. I just did that. That's nuts. Can you see? Okay, is the slider? Let's try this again. So can you see this drop down?
Yes. No. You can see the drop down, but you can't see it dropping down.
You can't see. Oh, interesting. Okay. So you'll have to do that yourself. Basically, that's a browser issue happening that I just showed. But basically, when you click this drop down, can you see my mouse moving?
You cannot. So here I'll give you guys the breakdown of what the different options are for using a entry that's based off of the strike offset. So there's a couple different choices. So when you go to strike offset, the most common is the current price, but you can also do the current day's open, the previous day's close, the previous week's close, or the current week's open. And to your point, there are a couple snipers in the OO community who on a Thursday or Friday start eyeing different weekly closes and try to sometimes snipe a butterfly at that number. And I think a lot of those risk rewards, and that's a discretionary trade. But Troy, I think that concept is similar. It's the same concept that you're talking about, right? A mean reversion to a previous market level as evidenced by a close or an open on a certain day or a certain week. And there are people who are good at looking at the charts and say, okay, we've closed at 53.35, 7 out of the last 28 times. And the range has been all over. And so buying a wide butterfly may not be that expensive of a lotto play, especially in a higher VIX market, even if we're farther away, because the Greeks, you know. So
yes,
yeah, I love the idea.
Matt had a great idea too to keep people from trading this. I just added $1 slippage.
There you go.
To everything. Slippage. So good luck automating that one.
Yeah. So most of the people on YouTube make a big portion of their video about just taking what they do and copying it exactly. We're telling you, don't do this. Go and learn the concept behind this and teach yourself. If you give a man a fish,
there we go.
You can feed him breakfast or lunch or dinner. If you give a man a mediocre to bad back test, but teach him the concept behind it, perhaps he can create a better back test. That's a saying.
Long bumper sticker.
That's a saying in I don't know if that saying's in Tennessee. I've heard that saying in Texas.
Different versions in Tennessee.
I've heard that saying in Indiana before.
Yeah.
So that you may have that bumper sticker.
That's right.
I love that.
Maybe different fish in Tennessee. Tennessee might be, what would you say, Troy? Catfish or
mountain? What do you mountain trout? What do you have? Do you fly fish for those?
You do fly fish for mountain trout. And for one trout, it's the best way to catch mountain trout.
Really?
Wow.
Are they in really shallow streams in general?
Shallow, and some of those streams are like 5 feet across. I mean, like you have to, and you're not even. Jeez. This is really, listen, guys.
We cover it all, guys.
I like to fly
NBA
fish.
to fly fishing.
We call it high sticking. So if you go up to the Smoky Mountains, there are some rivers where you're fly fishing, and you're just classic fly fishing. Some places, some of the really good places, actually in the Smokies, you're what's called high sticking. It's so small an area where you're literally like hiding behind a tree, and you put it in the water and lift it up.
Wow.
It's still
Lift it up.
fly fishing though?
Yeah,
Or is it
all right,
like,
because what they're eating up there are mayflies, caddises, things like that, and so these things are like that little, and so you're just kind of
you gotta, yeah.
Mm.
not my favorite. I'm gonna be honest, and a lot
What
of people
about to
around here.
eat?
These trout, I'm telling you, these wild trout in the Smokies. I grew up here, so people are like, "Oh, you were getting into fly fishing? You got to do wild trout. It's awesome." These trout in the Smokies are like this big.
Oh,
Really? That's it?
bro.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a big one, but like most trout in the Smokies are
We have
small.
panfish in my canal bigger than that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Good eating, good canal fry. You talk about a Friday night canal fry.
That's right.
Now, can you
And
catch quite a, I mean, if you're out there, is the catching pretty good? I mean, can you get like, could you need about 20 to eat? Well, I mean, can you get quite a few?
Those are the type, like in the Smokies. It like obviously if you were starving and you needed to eat, you could eat, but like the work required to clean those fish to what you get to eat is just not.
Wow.
It's not anything. So there's a lot of rivers in Knoxville, a lot of cool spots right outside Knoxville with much bigger trout.
Yeah.
And so I prefer that. But anyway, you'll check out the new show, Fly Fishing Options with the boys.
With the boys. Yeah.
Yeah, fly fishing with the trout.
Debuting soon.
Yeah.
Debuting soon. So anyway, guys, listen, keep working on the reversion. I'll keep working on it too. A reversion fly would be fun. Tomorrow, I'm going back and forth in my mind. I really don't want to automate this Rick that we looked at a couple weeks ago. But I think
you're the user.
I know, but I'm actually thinking it might be out of a drawdown. And I think doing a little SPY or Q Rick arguably might be smarter than some of the Ricks I've seen that are using SPX just because the sizing alone.
Sure.
So anyway.
Because of the present market conditions.
Yeah, like you're willing just to risk so much of your. I mean, listen. Let's say you have $100,000 in your account, and you're buying a $2,000 straddle, and you're ride or dying it. It don't take much, fellas, for it to get pretty painful for you. You know.
Well, especially, I mean, I think we're due for a little action, but lately, it's been a little. I mean, Matt would give much better information on that. Lately, the last, what would you say, Matt, 3-4 weeks, the Ricks have had a little challenging.
Oh yeah, I paused mine just recently. A lot of people paused them a while ago, but I just did a YouTube video called "Is This Backtest Tired of Winning?" And it's been under the microscope for a while. But here's the thing with Ricks. We had a video that kind of went popular. It was an at the money. It's technically a reverse iron butterfly, and it went popular, and it was a ride or die because it was so simple and it had a multi-year positive expectancy. And a lot of the back tests that I've seen have been like kind of variations on that. They're closer to the money. And so this later video that we just had, it's on the YouTube channel, you can find it, has some farther out of the money variations, because there are variations that you don't have to risk, even on SPX 10, 12, 15, 20, you can do a Rick that wins less and risks less. And if you're okay losing more, there are back tests that have positive expectancy that just require a bigger out of the money move. So Dan, you would probably call it more of a spec trade, but those options are out there. And then the other thing that's super interesting, which maybe would be a whole week on, is I've just been noodling on this idea that the concept of using floating entry and EMAs and all these things are used a lot with iron condors, but it pretty much exclusively short iron condors. And so the idea I've been noodling around with is, why couldn't some of those same concepts be used under different conditions with long iron condors, with reverse iron condors, with Ricks during the day? You don't have to put a Rick on in the first 5 minutes of the day if you see VIX is up or down. Like there's a lot of options in the back tester. So I heard some people talking about MERICs, multiple entry Ricks with totally different profit profiles. And you know, I'm just saying there's a lot of concepts that I don't think have been fully explored. I saw Troy crack a brief smile. Troy, what'd I say?
No,
Are you just looking at a picture of Halliburton on your desktop?
No. Just the idea of
Emmy Rick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's funny to trade. It's funny to teach.
Brokers love this one concept.
Yeah.
Multiple entry. That's the concept.
That's the concept that they love. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny to like talk to people who are completely new to options and like learning it, because you see their faces doing the math in their minds of the trade-off between, okay, if I sell premium, there's a limited amount of profit I can get, but there's a higher probability of getting it.
Mm-hmm.
If I buy premium, I'm bleeding money, but it has the potential to be a lot of money. And them just kind of doing their math and being like, oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough trade-off. And that's really what it is in my mind.
Yeah.
And I think people have to realize, because you can, you know, you'll talk to some people and you'll say, are you still doing the RICs? And they'll say yes, but they're not sad. And then you'll talk to some that'll be sad. And I think a lot has to do with, again, the big picture. All right. The big picture is, if you've got mostly positive theta going, like say for the last 2 weeks, a ton of double calendars on, you're happy. And maybe if you have less reverse, you know, whether it be a reverse iron butterfly, which is more at the money, I think, which Matt was talking about, or reverse iron condor out of the money, it's just the size, right? It's a long gamma trade, negative theta. If you have much less going on there, you'll be fine. You know, are you putting it on I think the challenging thing for someone doing these reverse iron condors or reverse iron butterflies is, if you're doing it as standalone trades and you don't have other stuff on, it can be a very, very stressful, painful environment. But if you're like Matt, right? I don't want to speak for Matt, but Matt, maybe you can add, he's got your net, wouldn't you say, Matt, your net positive theta. So even
RICs are a super small percent.
Yeah. So you're not, it's
really, they're smaller. I probably had too many on, but
your positive theta is outweighing the effects of the negative theta from the RICs. So you're not as miserable as somebody who did standalone RICs, because the numbers, you hate to say it, the numbers are more challenging to work. And you could have some real dry spells if you're just going to say, I'm just going to do that negative theta trade. Again, I saw that years at the CBOE for guys that said, I'm just doing big negative theta
just
trades.
The strangle guy who would,
and these guys would be, you know what? They would be legends for about 6 weeks of the year, right? 7. I mean, they would be, you know, they're like superstars. And then they're asking for lunch money 6 months later.
Yeah.
You know, if that's your only, and I'm not, you know, if it's your only, so I think blending in a portfolio, because I like them as hedges. You know, right now I look at the VIX at yesterday, broke my heart. You know, it was lower 16s. I don't know if we'll see much more. You know, could we dip 15 before July? Well, we'll see. But when you get to that level, right, having some of these trades on that are long Vega, get you positive delta on the way up, short delta on the way down, they can be a bit of hedges for your loads and loads of positive theta trades like double calendar, iron condor. So they can work really, you know, I'm looking at the VIX 16s to low 17s. Those are areas, you know, I've been looking the last 4 days at just, you know, taking hedges a little bit further out duration than your shorts, whether it be hedging 0 or 1 day with 3 or 4 day, or hedging 10-day trades with 30 or 40 day. This is the type of volatility that you can do. So, I mean, Troy, let me, if it's okay, we got a second here, for someone like yourself who's very astute with the volatility and looking for opportunities to set up hedges. What are your thoughts yesterday when VIX is hitting low 16s? Were you already thinking of kind of getting the artillery out or setting up the artillery, or what are your thoughts?
I tried to buy 200 VIX calls and 200 SPY calls. No
Are
joke.
you
No, I mean,
serious?
that's what I did.
A
That's
pairs
what I tried
trade.
to do. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what-
A pairs trade in the same direction.
Well, okay,
That's what
so
I tried to do.
you were looking at that as, hey,
Wait, you
this
said
is-
VIX calls and SPY calls.
Oh, sorry. Got SPY puts.
Okay, I thought it was a pairs trade.
No,
It was
no.
long SPY, long the VIX.
yeah.
I mean, listen, I think going down again, this is where it gets hard, and that's where it's complicated. Because like you make a bet, and you say like, I think Vol's floor is here, but Vol can stay on the floor a lot longer than you can stay solvent, and so you have to
That's right.
pick your spots.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made. You actually want to buy VIX calls when we move into backwardation, rather than contango. I don't like that, but I understand it. Like you want that first move to like switch it and then assume you're long Vega until it switches back. It's just when you switch back, you're going to get crushed if that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good to have, like, we're looking at maybe some VIX vertical call spreads yesterday or something, betting that VIX would go higher. But I think when you're betting VIX will go higher from a low level, you got to have plenty of duration. I mean, I look
That's
at
right.
like 70 days or something because, as you
Yeah,
said,
I've moved
You can
everything
stay
out.
on the floor longer than you can
that's
trust.
right.
it.
That's
Trust
right.
the plan.
I'm moving everything. My goal is to move everything out to the end of the year at this point.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a reasonable.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, here's a final thought. We had a couple suggestions in the chat. We actually have a whole feedback forum. So if you want to get something on the roadmap, fill out a canny. The link is in our documentation. It's in our Discord. Second thing is I also dropped a link to that video I talked about with the Rick. It's in the back test. It's a red year to date, but literally while we're talking, I was just playing around with it to the point. If you just change, it's super simple. If you just change the percentages to a 1% on the longs and 2% on the short. So whenever VIX is down at 932, you buy a percent out of the money put and call, and you sell 2% out of the money put and call. I mean, it loses 80% of the time, almost 90%, 85% of the time, but it's green year to date. So like just to the point of, it's in a big drawdown. It's going to lose. It may lose 30 or 40 times in a row, but to the point of a lottery ticket, it was also $1.40 on SPX a week. 2 days ago. It was $2 yesterday, $2.10 yesterday. So take it and be inspired. So, and don't say MERIC before you warn Troy.
And final thing. I mean, listen, we're not financial advice or anything like that, but there with this environment of rates and things like that, there's a day coming that's going to be apocalyptic, and so
There we go.
So anyway,
unfortunately, we don't have the DeLorean, so we can't tell you when that is.
exactly right. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Happy Thursday.